All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So this is just going to be another a lesson. Now this is a controversial topic, but hey, we're those controversial ones. The scriptures tell you in the book of what is that, Matthew chapter 10 verse 27, what you hear in the dark, that preach you upon the housetops. They're paraphrasing the scripture. Okay. I got a good scripture right here pulled up on my right hand side. Romans chapter 3 verse 4. God forbid, yea, let Yahweh be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, thou mayest be justified in thy sayings, and mayest overcome when thou art judged. But let's read the part I got that for. It says, Yahweh forbid, let Yahweh be true, but let every man be a liar. Right, so you got majority of people out there. The scriptures tell you in the Apocrypha that many people have deceived themselves by their own vain thoughts and opinions. Right, so everybody has their own opinion on every topic. Okay, that's why I did a video entitled "There is one truth and 100 lies." Okay, so in order to tell a lie about a subject, you have to know the truth. That's what it is. Okay, so I want to deal with this whole age of consent thing again, man. And I've already done this numerous times, okay? But it's something I'm good at, okay? Because I'm into human biology, okay? Or really biology in general, okay? Now, if you know the scriptures, well, you know that the Most High is the one who set everything up, okay? The scriptures say, shall a sparrow fall from a tree without the Lord know? And it says no. All right, because why? Because the Lord knows all things. The scriptures tell you in the Apocrypha, for the eyes of the Most High are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Okay? So I'm going to go into the scriptures, and we're going to prove that the biblical age of consent is sexual maturity. Okay? Because, you got all these Christians out there, and I've been in the church. Man. And they're always telling kids, well, don't have sex before marriage, which is also false, by the way, because there is no verse in the Bible that condemns sex before marriage. And I know one brother's on there going to be a smartass. Well, there's probably going to be multiple of them. Rich Peak's going to come on there. Rockapon's going to come on there. And the one brother, which I like this brother, but I can't be a respecter of persons. I believe he calls himself, oh damn, what is the brother's name? Damn, I can't remember, man. I can't remember the one brother's name. But anyway, you know who you are, man. All right, you're gonna come on there and say, well, according to the Bible, sex before marriage is a sin. Okay, well, you show me in the scriptures where it says that, and I'll show you where it says otherwise. Okay? Because how can sex before marriage be a sin if, according to the Bible, the thing that makes a man and a woman married is sexual intercourse? Read the book of what is it? Genesis chapter 24 and verse 67. All right, and then you come and argue with us. But if you can't do that, then you really can't say much. Okay. Let's see. So we're going to go back to the book of Leviticus just to get a proper understanding before we get into the main meat. Okay. And as I was saying, man, these church people, they say, oh, well, don't have sex before marriage and don't have sex before you're 18. Okay, well, wait a second. Well, what's with this number 18? Why is everything 18? Oh, well, you can't smoke cigarettes till you're 18. Well, over where my friend, the Vigilant Soldier lives, well, you can smoke cigarettes at 16. Okay? So if you can smoke cigarettes at 16 over in London, or I should say the UK, because that's where he is. Well, wait a second. How could you do one action over in this part of this land, but if you go on a plane to this land, you can't do the same action you could do over here? It's like people are so goddamn foolish. They think, well, if you do this one action here, it's okay, but if you go somewhere else and do it, well, that action is now immortal somehow. And even GMS are hypocrites on that as well. And I'm calling your ass out, Tahar, all right, because you clearly are going off, brother. Not that I disrespect you, but you're also in violation of the scriptures. Okay, you're in violation of the book of what is it? Exodus chapter 23 and I believe it's verse 2, thou shalt not follow a multitude in a false judgment. Okay, so you're also in violation of the scriptures. Okay, so I'm not going to have respect of persons. But anyway, I digress. All right, which I also want to point out, the reason why they use the number 18, which, guys now say when you deal with the scriptures, they say, well, you don't become an adult till you're 20, which I might even, Lord willing, if I have the time, I'm even going to get into that as well, as that is a false doctrine, man. Okay, and I'm going to show you in the Bible where our Lord Yahushua, or who they call Jesus Christ, was a man when he was 12 years old, man. Okay, but we'll get that later. Okay, I'm going to get into the main meat. Down to number 18, if you do math, and I will boldly say I was the first person on YouTube to ever point this out. Okay, and I will take that, not that I'm prideful, but I will take that, what's the word I'm looking for? Credit, so to speak. I'll take that credit. I was the first person on YouTube to ever point out that the number 18 is 666. Now, why is this important? Well, for one, when you read in the scriptures, when it speaks about the man of sin, his number is 666. I don't think it was a coincidence that Apostle John, when he said that his number is 666, but then he describes the destruction of America in Revelation, the 18th chapter. Okay, so what's number 18? 18 is 666. So I think that was done on purpose there. Okay, but again, I was the first person to ever figure that out, though. And I'll take that credit. The scriptures tell you give credit to who it is due. That's in Romans 13th chapter. All right. And just to prove my statement, you have 6 plus 6, that's 12, plus 6, you got 18. So you got 666. Okay. Just by simple math. Okay. So, hey, you see I'm on to something here. All right. Now I'm going to show you in the scriptures multiple places where it says that once you hit sexual maturity, you can have sex. And this still applies to this time period we are in. Now, let me say this. If you're a grown man, I'm not telling you to go out and sleep with someone under the legal, I say legal sarcastically, because anything legal or illegal is something that a rich man just made up. So you cannot use, well, that act is illegal. Okay, and does that make it wrong? And then people will think, well, but this person's disobeying the masters. And that's basically what it is, man. Okay? That you really need to have another man tell you what you can and cannot do, man. That's foolishness, man. All right? And I thought you Americans are free. So if you're free, so why do you need another human being to decide? You call them senators, right? Why do you need him to decide what you can and cannot do if you're a free human being? Stop being fucking simple, man. And excuse my language. All right, but the scriptures say, surely oppression makes a wise man mad. And the scriptures also tell you in the book of Corinthians, for though I am rude in speech, I am not in knowledge. Right, so even though the words that come out of my mouth, even though they are rude, but I am not rude in knowledge. Okay? So according to the Bible, a man can curse. Okay? Christians get offended at that. That's okay. The scriptures also say, be not a lion in your house. Right, so if you come home from work and not supposed to be, pissed off and, cursing at your family, that's going off, man. All right, but if you get angry on something, you can curse, and the scriptures are okay with that. Anyway, I'm taking too long. Leviticus chapter 15, verse 24 says, and if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lies shall be unclean. Okay? Now, what is this flowers talking about? If you read Leviticus, the 15th chapter, the full chapter, it goes over how to handle if a man, has, if he ejaculates, and how to handle a woman's menstrual cycle. Okay? Now, I want you to pay attention to that word there. It uses the word flowers to describe a woman's menstrual cycle. Now, I'm going to give undeniable evidence in the Holy Scriptures that the age of sexual consent, according to the Most High God, is puberty. All right? And let me say this, man. Dreadlord, brother, you're sitting there making videos about Sam Shimon. I hope I'm saying his name right. And he says that Ezekiel chapter 16 is talking about the biblical age of consent, and that's sexual maturity. So even he knows that, man. And that guy's, what was it? Isn't he a damn Muslim, man? So that shows you he knows more about the scriptures than you so-called Christians do. Or let me rephrase myself. I know, Dreadlord, you're not a Christian, all right? So that's good. That's good. You're on to something. Let's see. Oh, Slaki, I got the wrong book. I got First Chronicles. I needed to get First Corinthians. All right. First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 36. It says, "But if any man thinks that he behaves himself uncomely towards his virgin, as she passed the flower of her age and needs to require, let him do what he will, he sins not, let them marry." Now, what is that talking about? Okay, guys try to be simple because they disagree with what GMS says. Well, if you read the whole chapter, it's talking about a father deciding to give his wife into marriage. It's not talking about if a man wants to sleep with a woman. Okay, then, that's fine. However, they still miss the point. Even if it's talking about a father marrying off his daughter, it still means the same damn thing that we said it means. You know why? Because it's saying that as long as she had her first menstrual cycle, you can marry her. Okay, or she can be married off. Okay, that's what it says. Now, I'm not saying to go out and do that. However, if you go according to the scriptures, that is what it says. Okay. Let's see. Right now, how can I prove it is talking about a man thinking about his woman that he wants to sleep with? Well, back then, and this still goes on in the world today. Okay, if you go over to Africa with a couple $1,000, you could purchase yourself a wife there, man, a young wife. You can go over there and try. All right, they'll let you do it. But anyway, back in Israel, you could betroth your daughter to a man. Okay, so let's say this: if a grown man wants to marry a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old, he could do that. However, he cannot consummate the marriage until she has her first menstrual cycle. Okay, because that would be pedophilia. That would be real pedophilia. Okay, because first of all, the definition of the word pedophile means a person who is sexually attracted to children. Now, what does the word child mean? The definition of the word child, it means a person in between birth to sexual maturity. Now, what does the word adult mean? Well, the word adult means a person or an organism who is sexually mature. Go look it up in an English dictionary. See, even the white man knows that he's going off. Okay? And again, man, as I said, a lot of you guys like LUIC, you bird brain niggas, you guys really don't know this information because you're full of ignorance and pride, man. You don't know these scriptures. All right? And it's true, you don't. Let's see. I'm going relatively quickly through this because I want to try to get all this information in here, as good as possible. Okay? So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to prove that the age of consent according to the Bible is puberty, and I'm also going to prove according to the Bible that you actually become an adult around 11 to 14. I'm going to prove it in the Holy Scriptures. So this is a challenge. If anybody disagrees with this, okay, because what I'm saying is what GMS is saying, okay, because what GMS is saying about this topic, they got the truth, okay, and I will boldly proclaim that because it's true. Once again, Romans 13, give respect to who it is due. Give credit to who it is due. That's what the scriptures say. So Elder Dahar, even though he's going off with many things he says, that brother got the truth on this subject, man. Okay, so if any of you guys hear this video and you disagree with this, well then guess what? This is a challenge to you. This is a challenge to you, okay? You make a video and you prove this information wrong. Okay, and I guarantee you, you cannot do it. And if you do prove us wrong of what we're teaching, and I'll take the video down. Okay, if you can prove me to be false with this information, I'll delete this video. Okay, I swear on it. But guess what? You can't do it. And that's a challenge to you. All right, now, In order to understand this scripture, you have to read the book of Numbers, the 22nd chapter. Okay, when it talks about marriage by abduction. Okay. Now, if you read that, I'm not going to get it for the sake of time, but if you read that, it mentions the word damsel. Which, what does the word damsel mean? A damsel is a young woman of marriageable age. Okay, now I'm going to prove to you right here in the scriptures where a damsel can be as young as 12 years old. This is straight from the Bible here, brother. So, if you guys disagree, well, I don't know what to tell you. You clearly don't know these scriptures. This is the book of Mark, chapter 5, and verse 42. It says, "And straightway the damsel arose and walked, for she was of the age of 12 years, and they were astonished with great astonishment." But it called this damsel, this supposed little girl, which she's not a little girl, she's a young woman. It called her a damsel at 12 years old. So who could then say that if you read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 22, that a damsel cannot be as young as 12? I have just proven that it is. All right? But the Lord still thinks of it, this the same way, man. Okay? Teens are still young adults in this time. If that's not the case, if the times change, because that's what people say, well, that was only back then, right? With the dietary law, well, that was only back then, right? With this, well, that don't apply today. Well, how can you decide that? How can you say that something that is biological does not apply today? And is it not true that 80% of so-called teens have sex before 17? Is that not true? Yes, it is true. Now, why is that happening? Because their body was set up to do that, man. So again, it is just biological. And human biology does not change when a group of people say it does. We're going to declare that now you have to be this number to do this action. Like, for example, drinking alcohol. Just, I believe it was 40 years ago, if not mistaken. I could be wrong, don't know the exact date. But not too long ago, here in America, you could drink at 18. But now you got to be 21. Why is it now wrong for you to do something that you could have done before, but now you can't do it till a later date? How did that now come to be? And should it be followed? The answer is no. Okay? Because it makes no goddamn sense. It's foolishness. You cannot put a number on something that's biological. Scientific, biological facts. And it cannot be done. Anyone who disagrees, well, then, hey, you prove me wrong. Now I'm going to prove, I've already proven my statement, but just as further evidence, I'm going to show you in the scriptures where, according to the Bible, the age of consent is puberty. Okay, now, if you want to be simple and say that Elder Dahar is a pedophile, which he is not, by the way, okay, it just off of the very definition of what the word even means, that's not true, okay? But if you want to say that, just for argument's sake, you have to say that God himself is a pedophile. And I'm going to prove to you how. Okay? So Elder Dahar is a pedophile, right? You know, Avenger for Yahweh Shai, he always plays the clip where Elder Dahar said that, when he was, I believe he was at his cousin's house or something, and he said he was looking at, his 12-year-old daughter. She was, running around, and he said, hey, she was ready. And I was looking at her, and I was saying, yeah, she is ready. And Avenger for Yahweh Shai was trying to make fun of him. As Elder Dahar is in his, I'd say, early 60s or late 50s. All right, so you're saying, well, why is this old man looking at this, this little girl, right? So he played the clip over and over again to make it seem like, that he was doing something he wasn't. Because Elder Dahar wasn't going to do nothing, man. Okay, he knows that. Okay, he was going to abide by what Esau says. Okay, but guess what? What Esau says is not the end-all be-all. And to say that, well, that's in violation of the book of Numbers, chapter 23. Thou shalt not follow a multitude in a false judgment. Okay? So if you're going to go with what the unrighteous say, well, this is the law, so we have to obey it. Well, you're going to hell off. In fact, I'd argue with you and say that could be a sin unto death right there, according to the scriptures. Okay? And for you crackers out there, especially for you niggas in GMS who say to obey the government, well, go take the mark of the beast then. Oh, well, let's not talking about the mark of the beast. Well, wait a second, though. If Romans 13 says to obey the government, do anything he says, then go take the 666 mark. Oh, but I don't have to do that because it's totally different. And I'm obviously being sarcastic. I'm not telling them to go take the mark, but I'm just simply showing how they clearly don't know what they're talking about. So again, as he said, and even Elder Dahar knows who I am. He said, yeah, Yasha, he's for us, but he's also against us. And you're damn right, man. I'm for you, but I'm also against you. Okay? You know why? Because you guys are full of ignorance and pride. But at the same time, you should be respected. Okay? The scriptures say, thou shalt have no respect to persons in judgment. Also, the scriptures also say in Romans the 13th chapter that you should give respect to who it is due. So the elders of GMS are worthy of double honors. Okay? And I give double honors to the elders of GMS. However, I'm not going to kiss your ass and say you know everything, because guess what, nigga? You do not know everything. You do not got the whole truth. Okay? Far from it. And it's a goddamn fact. Okay? But you're full of pure ignorance, so you can't accept the facts. Just what it is. If you disagree, well, hey, you disagree. Let's see. I'm not going to read this whole chapter, but if you read Ezekiel chapter 16, the first 10 verses, it will prove my statement. Okay, now this is basically the Lord Yahweh is comparing Israel to a little girl growing up to becoming a woman. Now you're going to notice here that the Lord takes this girl to be his wife when she hits puberty. Now, if you're going to say that Tahar's a pedophile, well, you also have to say God's a pedophile here. There's no third answer. There's no way around this. Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 7. I have caused thee to multiply. This is the Lord talking to Israel. All right. This is the Lord talking about this little girl here. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field. Thou hast increased and waxen great. Thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thy hair is grown. Whereas when thou was naked and bare, now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. And I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee. Thus says Yahweh, and now became mine. Right, so that clearly is talking about a girl becoming a woman. And when does that happen? When she gets to her menstrual cycle. Okay? That scripture just proved it. Now, again, if you disagree, well, you have to call so-called Jesus or God a pedophile here. Okay? So I mean, you guys really can't say much, man. Okay? Now, I'm running out of time here. So I'm going to try to go relatively quickly. All right, now I want to get into this whole what age do you become an adult thing. Okay? And let me say this, man. Sex is not for something for children. There is no verse in the Bible where the Lord speaks about children having sex. That's something the Lord made between man and a woman. Okay, so the fact that you can reproduce, that means that that means you're an adult. It's a fact. This cannot be debated. Okay, well, if we make a law that now makes it not true, well, okay then, well, how would you then explain the book of Psalms chapter 94 and verse 20? Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, they who frame mischief by a law? Right, so the Lord clearly ain't with that, man. Okay, you cannot just dictate what is fact. That's not how things work. You can pretend that you can, but in all factuality, that's not what it is. Okay? Anyway, let me go quicker. This proves, this is what they try to use, LUIC, and many other people to say you're not an adult till you're 20 years old. Numbers chapter 1, verse 20. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the number, or Slaki, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names of their polls. Every male, listen here, every male from 20 years old and upwards, all that are able to go forth unto war. Okay, so now it's saying you can't be drafted into the war unless you're 20 years old. Now somebody would say, okay, that's a good argument to prove that you're not a man till you're 20. But there's an issue here. I'm going to show you this. Book of Numbers, chapter 8. Let's go to Book of Numbers, chapter 8. Now, if you're going to use that verse to prove, well, if you're not this number, you're not yet an adult. If that's the case, well, how can you explain this? Numbers chapter 8 and verse 24. This is it that belongs unto the Levites. From 20 and 5 years old and upwards, they shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. So there's one restriction, and by the way, fun fact, these are the only two age restrictions that are found in the whole entire Bible. Just to point that fun fact out real quick. But here you go. If you're going to sit here and say, well, Numbers 1 says you can't do this to your 20, so that proves you're not an adult to your 20. If I just showed you where it says you can't do something to your 25, could then I now say that you're not an adult to your 25? You can't really argue against that. So you're telling me you're 20 and you're going to war as a child, but, oh, well, you're not an adult to your 25 because you can't work in a congregation to your 25. Stop being simple, man. Obviously, this has nothing to do with being an adult or not. Okay? For example, even in Esau society, they'll tell you, yeah, you become an adult at this number, but you can't drink till you're this number. Okay? Which that's all bullshit anyway. But I'm just using that as an example to show you, man, that even in this modern time with the devil in rulership, even he does the same thing. Now, is this saying that, oh, well, if you're 24, you can't work in a congregation? No, you might have a man who's very experienced, who is ready to do it. For example, if you're under 20, could you still go to war? Yeah. If that's not the case, then why was David there? David was under 20. If you read in the Hebrew, I believe it called him a stripling, which means a young man. Okay, so he was still a man, but he wasn't a fully grown man. Okay, but he could still go though, and he was under 20. So why did the Lord not say, oh, well, why was he there? He wasn't 20. He's still a child. There's no place in the scriptures where it says that. Okay? I'm going to show you this real quick. Now, if you know the Passover, right? The Passover was a feast that all the men of Israel had to go to. Okay? Bear with me a second. Here, I gotta pause it real quick. All right. Now you know that the custom of the Passover, all the men had to keep this custom. The women and children did not have to. Okay. So this is Luke chapter 2. Now Jesus' family was going to Jerusalem to keep the Passover. All right. Now I want to throw this fun fact out there. Luke chapter 2 verse 42. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. Now why am I bringing this up? Because if we go down here, see, I'm going to get the rest of this chapter, man, because this is good, man. All right. Luke chapter 2 and verse 43. And when they had fulfilled the days as they returned, the child, now it says child, but in the original language it was written in, that was not there. They added that in there. Okay, there's many times in the King James where they add words in the translation. So the word child, that's an incorrect word to say, so to speak. Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in their company, went a day's journey, and they saw him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to go to Jerusalem to seek after him. And it came to pass, after these 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and his answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou dwelt this way with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. And he said unto them, How is it that ye have sought me? Wouldst ye not know that I must be about my father's business? And they understood not the sayings that he spoke unto them. Let's see. I'll stop there because of the sake of the time. But you clearly see that Jesus went on his own when he was 12. And why did he do that? Because he was a man. Okay, he did not have to be with his parents. For example, the scriptures tell you that children obey your parents. Now, if Jesus was a child when he was 12, why did he not obey his parents? When his mother asked him, Son, why did you not come with us? He told her, well, hey, I got to be about my father's business. As in, hey, mom, you're not going to tell me what to do. And that is undeniable evidence that, according to the Bible, adulthood starts at sexual maturity. Okay, that's what it is. So anyway, I hope that was an edifying lesson. Once again, I'm gonna say it again. Obey the age of consent in the state you live in. This is just for educational purposes only. With that being said, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh Shem Yashai. If there's anybody who disagrees with this information, then I challenge you to prove this wrong. With that being said, I want to say shalom.